So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is the community forum that we held every couple of months. For those that haven't joined, this is a joint forum between ourselves, Urban and Civic, and the Residents Association. So my name's Christine Littlewood. For those of you I haven't met, I think I know most of you now, and I'm the Community Development Lead here at Wintringham, working for Urban and Civic. Just joined by quick introductions for everyone presenting this evening. I'm joined by my colleague Paul Murphin, who's our Communications and Partnerships Manager.
Evening.
And lucky to have with us again is Scott, who I'm sure you all know does an amazing job as the Chairman for the Residents Association. So thanks, Scott, for joining again. Hello. And this evening, we've got a couple of external presentations and hope we can share with you that you'll be appreciative of, and I know a lot of people have asked for a bit of updates on these areas. So welcome to Brandon, who is going to give a little update on David Lloyd Leisure, and also John Akerster, who is joining us from the Scouts Go A428 team, so we'll update a little bit and an overview on that project too. So without further ado, Paul will be managing the slides, so I'll be doing the next slide, please. So yeah, so just kind of whiz through. So just to hand over to Scott to do a bit of a Resident Association update, and I will let people in as they join throughout. Sorry, and I just did want to say, I normally say this, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat as always, or please, we would love to hear your voices too. So if you want to raise a hand and ask a question, we'll take questions at the end of each presentation. So if you have questions for John and Brandon, then please ask them once they've finished their presentations, rather than leave everything to the end. But hopefully we can help and support with answers this evening. Anything else we'll take away and come back to you, but hopefully we can inform as needed. So sorry, Scott, back to you for a Resident Association update.
Just one thing, Christine, just to let everybody know, this is being recorded.
Yes, it is, and this will be posted on the community Facebook page, so we'll post it on there and I'll let you know when that goes live, and that will be edited up. We'll put that on in the next week. Thank you. Sorry, Scott, a few introductions there, and finally
that's fine. Thanks, Christine.
Hear from you.
Can skip those two, Paul. Thank you. Hello, thank you. Yes, for those of you that don't know me, as Christine said, I am Scott. I am the chair of our Residents Association. Just like you, I am a resident here. I am a volunteer, and I work with a team of very happy people who also help out the community. So it's a great team. Oh, I can hear myself. We have just welcomed a new member, so Gary has just joined us. He'll be helping us with a number of our events and communications going forward. So it's quite a short update today, but our main focus is on kind of our plan for the rest of the year and how we can help new residents that are just coming to Wintringham. So if you're new here, the best ways to start connecting with our community and your community, first of all, is to join the Wintringham Facebook page. So it's the Wintringham Community UK in brackets, because we are often invited by some Americans. So we are the UK version of Facebook. Please join that. We update all of our events and kind of what's going on there, as do Urban and Civic and Off Beaten Truck. So that's where you get all your information. If you haven't done so already, please visit our website. So it's ourwintringham.org.uk. We update again all of our events on there, as well as lots of handy hints and tips. If you haven't done so already and you are a resident at Wintringham, please do join our WhatsApp groups. These are public forums. However, it enables you to connect quite closely with your neighbours and ask lots of questions. So especially if you're new here, it's quite an opportunity to get to know your neighbours. Join in at one of our community events. So we do hold quite a few community events throughout the year. So you can either help us with those or just come and enjoy them. It's up to you, but please do kind of show your face and come and meet your next door neighbours. And then lastly, just say hello. So we're all relatively new to the area. We're all in the same boat. So if in passing, just say hello. We're all new here, so everybody kind of likes to say hello and, you know, start building on those connections. So that's how you can get to know your neighbours, a really quick overview. So next slide, please, Paul. What is our plan for 2024? So our main focus is obviously welcoming new residents to Wintringham. So we're ever growing. So it's really important that everybody kind of gets to know the area, gets to know the community, and has all the information that they need to kind of build their lives here. So that's our first and main focus. We also lead, as I touched on, community-led events. So these are designed with the sole purpose of building a community and bringing us together. We'll touch on some of those shortly. And then making sure that all of the available information and contacts, etc., are available to you and easy to reach. So who's your broadband supplier? Do I need help with broadband? Do I need help with power? Do I need help with a house builder? We can make sure all that information is available to you. And then last but not least, Neighbourhood Watch, which there is a plan for, which I'll go through shortly. Next slide, please, Paul. So this is our events calendar. So where are we now? So we're currently at our Trick or Treat Pumpkin Trail, which I'll touch on shortly. For the rest of the year, we're looking at doing a Neighbourhood Watch event. Diwali is the big focus for us latter half of the year, so in November. And then in February next year, we'll also have a Lunar New Year. So these are the last events that we're kind of working on for this year. What have we been up to? So since we last met, we had some lovely owls come to visit Wintringham. So adults and children alike got to kind of hold an owl, which I thought was amazing. I really enjoyed. So hopefully at some point they will be invited back. That was a really great event the latter half of the summer, so the end of August. Next slide, please, Paul. And then a congratulations to our winners of our sunflower competition. So we had the tallest plant and the biggest flower, and we're looking to already source our seeds and compost, etc., for next year. We'll be looking at a slightly different seed going forward. So we'll be looking at even bigger sunflowers, hopefully, but congratulations to our winners. What's next? So as I said on the events calendar, we have our Trick or Treat Pumpkin Trail. So what is this? This is a interactive map. So anybody that would like to welcome trick-or-treaters to their house this year can sign up to this map and they will get kind of a pumpkin plotted on their house. This is designed so that children can follow the map, not go to houses that don't want to participate, just go to the houses that do want to participate. Obviously, we'll be encouraging you to decorate your houses, and we'll be looking at how we can hold a competition for kind of best dressed house this Halloween as well. But if you would like to welcome trick-or-treaters to your house, please do sign up to this. You can scan the QR code, or I can put the link in the chat. Alternatively, visit our website, so the outwintringham.org.uk. Thank you, Paul. So our next big event that we are in planning, and we're really excited with what we've got so far, will be Diwali, which is on the 2nd of November. This will be held at the primary school. Like I said, we've got some really good entertainment lined up. Be very similar to last year in terms of what we do, but we are very much looking forward to this. It takes a lot of planning. Jan is very much leading this and she's doing a great job. So thoroughly looking forward to Diwali. It will be on a Saturday, so please put it in your diaries. So I thought I'd touch on Neighbourhood Watch. So we have currently pulled signing up to the Wintringham community. We're looking to gain access to the Neighbourhood Watch forums. So our previous team have resigned their posts, so we are just looking to gain access to that, reset it up, and then look at the future of Wintringham Neighbourhood Watch. Next week, I'm planning to put in a call to kind of discuss with residents how we would like to take this forward. We're looking to introduce an elected coordinator, coordinator/coordinators. And in the meantime, we are currently looking at sourcing some Neighbourhood Watch materials to help residents understand how to deal with different situations around the neighbourhood. So how you deal with conflict, how you deal with locking up and making sure your houses are secure. So that is a short-term plan. Hopefully we'll be able to give more information at the meeting next week. We're just trying to, like I said, get access to the correct forums. So we've been in touch with the central neighbourhood watch team to try and make this happen. So hopefully next week I'll be able to share a little bit more information on this, but I just wanted to touch on it this evening. I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Oops.
Thank you, Scott. Great job as always, and I say thank you everyone that is putting their heart and soul into the Resident Association. Everyone's doing a great job, and as always with the urban and civic events as well, with yourselves, we're always happy to support where we can and hopefully go forward having a great partnership. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's involved there too. So just rolling on to the next presentation, if nobody has any questions for Scott, we'd like to welcome Brandon, who's going to talk about the David Lloyd Leisure that's coming to Wintringham. And I believe, okay, sharing your screen, Brandon, to present.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name's Brendan Mitchell. I'm head of acquisitions for David Lloyd Leisure in the UK. Briefly, kind of what that means is that my responsibility in the company is setting strategy in terms of where we would like to build our clubs, identifying land there, and then working with landowners to secure planning permission and get to the point at which we can start construction, at which point I step back and our construction team step in. So I have a very brief presentation to take you through. I think I can probably sort of guess as to what questions you guys might have. Feel free to stick your hand up at the end and ask me those, and I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to answer them. Very keen not to give you all death by PowerPoint. So like I said, it's a short slide, 2 videos, and then a couple of slides, and then perhaps kind of throw it open to the floor to ask any questions. Let me get my screen sharing. And hope that this all goes according to plan. Christine, I'm going to rely on you to shout if what
Absolutely.
you're seeing
We've got
doesn't look any good.
Yeah, looks fine. Got the video, the header.
You may have audio for this, but equally, I'm not sure it will work over Teams. But there's supposed to be a jazzy soundtrack.
Yeah, there's no audio, but it's just music, isn't it? There's no dialogue behind it. It's just a taste and feel.
It's slightly better with audio, with the music, but look, that gives you just a little bit of an idea about who we are and what we do. I'm sure many of you will have heard of us by name. I'm sure many of you have been members previously, but equally, I'm confident that there are plenty of you who have never really heard of us and don't really know what we do. So the next video I'm going to show you is just a 60-second clip. Again, there's no audio, so if it's kind of silent movie, Charlie Chaplin style, don't worry about it. It will give you a very good idea of exactly what we're proposing to build at Wintringham. It's a drone fly-through of one of our recently opened clubs in the UK, in Bicester, and don't want that one to play again. Hang on, here we go. This will give you an idea of what we're talking about. Well, there you go. The audio worked on that one. So that gives you an idea of the facilities. Just give you a very brief overview of what we'll be bringing to Wintringham. So it sounds a bit corny, but we're not just a gym. We're a place that people can come and relax, spend time, work on their mental well-being as much as their physical well-being. And what we found, so this will be the third club that we put onto an urban and civic development. The first opened in Rugby last year and has proved to be a real community hub. It's actually one of the bougiest clubs in our in our business, and I don't know whether that says more about the people of the good people of Rugby, but it certainly proved to be a very popular asset for the development here. In terms of the benefits, there's the obvious ones, which is facilitating people living healthier and happier lives, and that's ultimately why as a business we do what we do. But there are sort of side benefits that won't immediately be obvious. Local jobs being a good example. Once we're up and running, we'll be creating somewhere between 80 and 100 full-time equivalent jobs across a variety of departments within the clubs. And as an employee of David Lloyd, you have access to a huge amount of training, on-the-job apprenticeships to upskill you, and we can offer people sort of careers for life. We've got people in the business who have been here for 30 plus years, and then at the other end of the scale, we've got members of our executive team who 10 years ago started with us as a lifeguard. So the jobs we create are pretty varied and meaningful. And then, of course, there's construction jobs as well. One of our core values as a business is making a meaningful contribution to the communities that we operate in, and that's not only kind of the day-to-day stuff, the jobs and the core part of our business in terms of healthy living and healthy lifestyles. Charity forms a big part of what we do and what's very important to us. Over the course of the last 12 months, we've raised over £2 million for charity on a national basis, but our clubs are also empowered to work with local charities and causes that are important to them, and those causes are chosen by our team members, but also by our members as well. Just to give you an idea of actually what that means in real terms, our club in Newbury is a bit of a flagship for us. They do a fantastic job. Every year, they do a 24-hour spin-a-thon, and they raise money for their local neonatal unit. And each year they raise in the region of sort of £50,000 to £60,000 within a 24-hour period. So it is good, meaningful work that our teams and our members do on that side of things. The other element that we bring to these sorts of developments is a recognition of the fact that we build facilities that pretty much no one else out there is building, particularly swimming pools, and we like to leverage those at times when we're quieter. So again, in real terms, what that means, and this is something that we've done in Rugby on urban and civics development there, is we allow the local primary schools that form part of the wider development to come into our club for several hours a week to learn to swim. They have access to the tennis courts, to paddle courts, sports hall, and sort of other spaces within the club. And for us, again, that's something that's really important. Because we want to do as much as we possibly can to get people realizing the benefits of healthy living as early as possible. And if we can capture capture that and give people that experience when they're younger, hopefully it will then set them on the right path to having a longer, happier, healthier life that's free from visits to the NHS. And that's a sort of, another obvious key element of what we do is sort of easing demand on local health services. And lastly, one thing that we're very proud of is being a very diverse and inclusive company, not only to work for, but also for our members. So we have various charters within the business. One of the key ones is that we refuse to work with influencers who promote unhealthy or unrealistic body images or fad diets or anything like that. For us, we want to promote participation. We don't run any elite programs, and we want people, no matter what their background, to be able to come in and use our clubs in a manner that is that suits their lifestyle. And lastly, kind of what are we building? I'm sure some of you who are adept at navigating sometimes very difficult to navigate local authority planning websites might have already had a look at our planning application. And this drawing might be familiar to you. But very briefly, what you're looking at here is the grey element is the built form of the club. Car parking to the east of the building, and then outdoor facilities to the north and the west. So I'll just run down the list of facilities that we put in. So within the main, the grey area, which we refer to as the clubhouse, that would have your changing rooms, cafe, restaurant, indoor pool, actually 3 indoor pools. We have a 20-metre by 8-metre pool, and then we have 2 kids pools at different depths to help build water confidence and help teach children to learn to swim. That's a big driver for why people join us. Multi-purpose sports hall, a spa, and this isn't a spa with where you'd go for sort of treatments. We don't offer massage therapy in this club, but it's saunas, steam rooms, ice plunge if that's your thing. Thoroughly recommend it if you can brave it, and then that leads to an outdoor spa garden. I can't remember if I mentioned multi-purpose sports hall, that's at ground level, and then on the upper floor is the more traditional gym element. So we'd have 4 group exercise studios, 2 of which would be one would be a spin studio, the second would be a high intensity interval training studio, and then a traditional gym floor with various bits of kit for functional weight training, resistance training, and cardiovascular training. And then outside, 3 tennis courts, which would sit underneath an inflatable air dome to give them all-weather capability, which very important given the weather that we've got at the moment. Outdoor swimming pool, also with a kids pool alongside it, surrounded by a terrace, an outdoor dining terrace, multi-use games area, something that we term battle box, which is an outdoor group exercise class. It can best be described as kind of sort of military fitness boot camp type thing, and then 3 paddle tennis courts as well. So all of this goes into creating what can best be described as kind of a family offering. We would expect 25% of our membership to be aged under 16. And all of the program that we do for all of our adult classes is very, very carefully tailored to run alongside our kids program, so that there's kind of sort of something for everyone, regardless of their age or ability. And not always sporting. We run clubs. We do arts and craft clubs for the kids. We do Lego clubs, but equally we'll do dodgeball, we'll do rugby, badminton, hockey for the kids. but also a lot of our adult classes we are starting to tailor to be able to run family sessions of those as well. So you can come along and do a family group exercise class, or sort of tennis lessons, all that kind of stuff. I mean, look, I could wax lyrical about what we do for 45 minutes and send you all to sleep, and I'm really keen not to do that. So I'm hoping that that's given you a little bit of an idea about what we're proposing. Just before kind of, I guess, I open up to any questions, just to give you guys a status update on everything. So our planning application is submitted, it's validated, it's working through the system at the moment. It is not by any means a done deal. We've got to get this through planning, and there's a few challenges around that. And planning is supposed to be democratic, so there will be the ability for you guys to leave your comments on the planning application. And Christine and Paul, maybe we can circulate via Scott perhaps the link to do that after this meeting, where you'll all be able to interrogate this a little bit further and leave your comments. But you know, if this is something that feels to you as though you want this in the community that you're living in, you know, go and comment on it, you know, one way or another, whether you support it or not. Hopefully you do support it, but go and comment, because that does all go into the mix, and it does carry weight in planning terms. We're hoping that we'll get a planning determination by the end of the year, which would see the club start construction probably in the first, I'd like to say the first quarter, but I'd say definitely the first half of next year. And the build program is a 12-month build program, so it would open 12 months after we start construction. So that is me waffled. Hopefully I haven't bamboozled you all. Full disclosure, I live in Rugby, so I am a resident of an urban and civic development as well. So if you want to ask me anything about that and not this, then I'll do my best to answer that as well.
Thanks, Brendan. Okay, so obviously I understand everyone's had letters through their doors, and everyone's had the opportunity to comment. So we can share those if you've got that portal, we can share that later and get that from our development team if people want to additionally comment and they haven't had the opportunity already. Really happy to share that. Scott, first question.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say, I think the commenting part closed on the 5th of September. That's what it said in the letter anyway. So I think we've all had the opportunity to comment.
Okay, so look, on that, we will be opening up a portal hopefully in the next 10 days, where if you haven't commented yet, you will be able to, and that'll then be collated into a pack of information, pack of comments, which will be circulated to the planning authority. Any questions? Who wants to be brave and go first? I know you all want to ask me how much it's going to cost. So look, on that basis, and look, this comes with a really big caveat, because like I say, it's not a done deal in planning. And if we don't get planning first time and we end up going to appeal and all the rest of it, the timescales will move out quite a lot. If we were opening this today, you would be looking at, for an individual adult membership, somewhere in the region of 130 to 140 pounds per month. There's kind of economies of scale. Hopefully you've not all fallen off your chairs at that. There are economies of scale. Sort of second adults joining get a bit of a discount, and kids up to the age of 16, it's £35 a month. In terms of what you get for that, that's, you know, you've paid your money, and you can use the club as often as you like, as as many times as you like. You can stay for as long as you like. A lot of our members use us as a sort of quasi WeWork, so they'll sit in our club room on their laptops on our free Wi-Fi, working away, and then they'll pack their laptop away at on their lunch break. They'll go and have a swim, they'll go and do a class or what have you, and then they'll get back to work, maybe pop out at 3 o'clock, pick the kids up from school, bring them back to the club. Kids will go into into kids classes, kids club, or what have you, and then maybe all come together for a meal as a family at the end of it. Within your price, there's all of your classes and activities are included. The only exception to that is swimming lessons are extra, and kind of one-on-one tennis lessons or kids group tennis lessons are extra. There are various timetabled tennis lessons that are included in that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about the sort of the key stuff on the headline side of things. So look, as a price point, yes, potentially quite expensive, but like anything, depends how much you use it. And if you tot up what you get for that, we tend to think that it's actually quite good value for money. And seemingly, residents in schemes where we've put these in before are finding the same. So within 5 months of opening the club in Rugby, it had a waiting list, and it still has a waiting list. So we appreciate this. Probably, this won't be for everyone, but it'll be sort of interest to a significant number of the residents of Wintringham.
Thanks, Brendan. Just had a question come in. Is there a pay-as-you-go option at all?
No pay-as-you-go option. It is a membership model, so that it's an initial 12-month contract, and then it just rolls. And you can, if you want to cancel, you can give your notice. Okay, got a few questions coming in now, so I will just reel those off to you. So get ready. Do David Lloyd offer discount to residents? No. The challenge with that is where do you draw the line? Who do you count as a resident and who do you not? And what we don't want to do is create kind of almost an apartheid. I mean, look, Christine, Paul, I live in Halton, and I know that the kind of historic residents of Rugby have referred to Halton as the commune. And I'm sure you've faced similar challenges in terms of integrating Wintringham into St Neots, and not having it as a commune. The best time to join is before the club opens. That's when you'll get the best rate, and as soon as the doors open, the price goes up, and it's quite a significant jump. Great. Also, for me, are you going to offer a discount to urban and civic staff? That's what I want to know. So, you have to talk to you have to talk to your head office in Bond Street, New Bond Street, about that. But look, on that, if we do have corporate memberships, so if you work for the NHS, or if you're employed by Barclays Bank or whoever, then there are corporate discounts available, but those aren't typically available for a newly opened club. So those tend to then become available kind of 12 months or so. But there's a little bit of kind of sort of yield management, shall I say, that goes on with pricing. We have to try and find the balance between not overfilling the club, because then there's no point in having a membership if you've got a queue for the treadmill, or you can never book into the classes that you want, and that's as much art as it is science. Yeah, understood. Okay, I'll just keep running through. When or where are the potential jobs and positions in the facility likely to be advertised? To be honest, I think that might be a bit of you and me, actually, or us from Urban and Civic, I think, going forward. No, they'll be advertised on our website. Okay. So if you go to davidlloyd.co.uk, there is there's a link in there to our careers portal. and they'll be advertised on there. They will likely start to be advertised probably 4 to 5 months after we start construction.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so that's for operational jobs. We'll have to wait and see what planning conditions are attached to any consent, but it's likely that we will be working with our contractor to advertise construction jobs locally as well.
Great. Thank you. And I think you kind of answered this. Is the spa only available on the more expensive membership, and will there be an option for pay as you go for the spa?
So no option for pay as you go, and the spa is available on what we call our platinum rate. The likelihood is that we will only offer a platinum rate at St Neots. So again, you typically won't find a two-tier rate of membership within the club that we're planning here. That does exist for those of you who've been members at other clubs. There are, so take Peterborough as an example. Yes, there are different tiers of membership, but for newer clubs going forward, so this isn't peculiar to St Neots. We're taking a much more simplified pricing strategy, which is you pay your money and kind of you get everything.
And again, probably just a different questioning line. Can you use any of the facilities without being a member? I don't know if that means in the way of trial periods and things like that.
So the only way to use the facilities without being a member is to be the guest of a member. So all members get a certain number of guest passes every year, and that allows you to come in and use the facilities free of charge. Members can bring social guests into the club free of charge as well. If a member wants to bring in a guest to use the facilities and they don't have a guest pass, there is a charge for that. How much the charge is depends on how busy the club is, and it'll get to a point where guests won't be allowed in if the club is so busy that it's affecting the ability for members to access the facility. So members will always be prioritised in terms of how we administer our guest passes.
And another one which I'm sure is close to everybody's hearts and sort of living at Wintringham, how can David Lloyd prevent any noise and light pollution, I guess, as it's very close to Barrett's? So obviously the district centre and where you will be positioned, as I'm sure you're aware, is opposite the Barrett and David Wilson parcels.
Yeah, so look, very, it's a valid question and something that comes up on pretty much every development we do. So for both of these elements, they are items that we have to satisfy the local planning authority, that anything in terms of noise and light pollution is mitigated. Just taking the noise side of things for a minute, all of our plant sits at the back of the building, so the building will shield the nearby residential units from the plant, and again, kind of sort of still exactly TBC, but it might be that some of that plant has baffles around it in order to mitigate the noise. On the lighting side of things, I don't want you guys to be concerned that this is going to be something that is covered with very tall floodlights. So the tennis courts are lit internally, so we have no lighting columns on those, and the air domes are pretty good at containing light. You kind of end up with a bit of a soft glow rather than direct light shining bang into people's windows. In terms of sort of car park lighting or any other external lighting, where they sit on columns, we keep the columns as low as possible, and through the use of cowls or directional LED lighting, we can ensure that lighting doesn't go where it's not wanted. And then on a lot of the external areas, such as the terrace, that aren't used for sort of sporting activities, we use low level bollard lighting that's kind of sort of 1.2 meters in height. So a valid concern, but I can assure you that it's something that we're very hot on, but planning authorities are very hot on as well. So it'll be designed in such a way as to, minimise it. We can't rule everything out. Clearly we need a certain amount of lighting to make sure that the car park is safe for people using it in the hours of darkness. But it's an element of the design and the planning process that a lot of thought goes into.
Thank you. And just another question, which you've pretty much answered within that, just about impact of construction, particularly off Nuffield Road, but you've touched on it, but also the parking restrictions on that road, and if so, where will visitor parking be put? I think it's just to maybe touch on the fact that you will have your own parking and people won't be parking on Nuffield Road to access David Lloyd. If you could just slightly elaborate on that. I know you did touch on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me share that site layout again. No, I don't want to share that one with you. That's my presenting notes. Hang on. Right, here we go. So hopefully you can all see that. We've got roughly, I think it's about 250 car parking spaces here. So from an operational point of view, we should be completely self-contained. From a construction point of view as well, we have to keep all of our contractor parking within the boundary of our red line during construction. There will be restrictions in terms of when we can do construction, so hours of the day and days of the week that we can do it as well. There will be certain periods in construction, but you're talking maybe 1 to 2 weeks at the most, where, say, when we're surfacing the car park, where we can't have contractors parked on site, and in that instance they will have to park off site, and that'll either be on Nuffield Road, or we'll do as we did with Urban and Civic in Rugby, and we used an adjacent undeveloped plot during that period. So I'm hopeful that answers that particular question. Does it, Christine? I've lost the question. So
yeah,
what
thank
will
you.
be the
Just
impact on residents living opposite the proposed site on Nuffield Road during construction? Are we also, yeah, okay. So I mean, look, I think the reality is that it's very, very difficult to do development without some form of disruption. So it'd be completely sort of false for me to suggest that this thing's going to suddenly appear and we're all going to be as quiet as dormice. But the buildings go up very, very quickly. We use a steel frame construction, which means that we can do it quickly, and we can keep disruption to a minimum. We will also be required by planning to make sure that we're doing wheel washing and road cleansing, and there's a kind of sort of double backup there. In our contract with Urban and Civic, we're required to make sure we're doing that as well. So if we're not, then Urban and Civic will be able to enforce things on your behalf as residents.
Great. Thank you, Brendan. I think that's wrapped
Pleasure.
up.
Oh, hang on. Since the Nuffield Road gets narrow after the Firethorn Road, where exactly is the club entrance? Right. Hang on. Say that again. So this number 3 is the entrance point to the club. So you've got Nuffield Road here, Firethorn Road, and number 3 is where the entrance will be. So it'll be a barrier controlled car park, but the approach barrier will be on what we term free flow. So as a vehicle approaches it, the barrier arm will go up, and then to exit the car park, users would swipe their membership card.
Great.
Hopefully that answers that one.
Yeah, thank you. As I say, obviously we know we're sort of into planning, but I think that has answered everyone's questions. I don't see any more come through. I think what might be a nice idea is maybe get you back sort of later on, perhaps before, obviously when we get an update on planning and hopefully before construction, and just another sort of touch base with the community. I think would be nice. Final questions and those that missed the opportunity this time round.
Yeah, so look, I think what we're planning on doing, and we've got a number of these going on across the country, so it's just about kind of sort of juggling time and resource. Our intention is to, like I say, we're going to run this online ability for people to feedback, and I was on with our agency that does that for us earlier today. So they'll get that done, and then we will probably come and do an in-person session in Wintringham, come along with lots of architects' drawings, various members of the team, and you can come along, pick the tyres, ask us as many awkward questions as you like, and it'll give you probably a much better feel for kind of us as a company, our ethos, what we do, but also what we're proposing for Wintringham.
Great. Thanks, Brendan. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thanks, you're very welcome to stay. Oh,
I'll leave you to it, and I hope all you residents have got a nice glass of red or something to keep you warm.
Thanks, Brendan.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, so if we just could go back to the main presentation, then John will turn the time over to John to just give us an update and overview of the A428 Skanska Caxton Gibbet scheme. So just waiting for.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Shall I just share mine rather than?
Yes, if that's okay with you, John. Do you want to share your screen for your presentation?
Yeah, 1 second, and I'll do that. Still not got enough windows, even if I have. Right. Hopefully that's sharing now and people can see that.
Yeah, yeah, that's all good. We can see you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is John Acaster. I am a community engagement manager. I work for Skanska Construction, who are the main primary contractor on the A428 Black Cat to Caxton Gibbet Improvement Scheme, which is a national highways project. It's currently the largest in construction road project in the UK at the moment. I wanted to come along. We're based out of our site office in Wintringham as well, just down the road. We're in what I think is Wintringham Phase 3 land, which we're using on from Urban and Civic to avoid impact on the local community and local agricultural area. Just wanted to give you an update of where we were with things, what's happening with the scheme, what the scheme is all about. I mean, I know a lot of you probably seen work going on very close to where you're based, and also you know, maybe been to some of our events, seen us around out and about, and inquiring what we're going on. And I think we even have some people who are working on the scheme who do live on the development itself. So what is the need for the scheme? Just get my share. So the A428 is the road that runs just to the south of the Wintringham development. It runs from Caxton Gibbet and then on down to Cambridge, heading east, and then heading west you go to the A1, and then you effectively turn south and head down to the Black Cat roundabout. This bit of road is the only stretched single carriageway between the ports in East Anglia all the way through to the M1. It carries roughly 25,000 vehicles a day, and is integrating the local traffic and the national traffic and the through traffic. Does cause some delays and quite high levels of traffic going through the local area. What we're building is a 10-mile dual carriageway that will link the Black Cat roundabout on the A1 at Bedfordshire through to Caxton Gibbet, where the A428 is actually dual carriageway already. Both of those junctions will be upgraded, and there's one new junction at Wintringham, just down by the Loves Farm junction, where you might have seen we've got quite a lot of work going on. I'll come on to that in a moment as to what we're doing down there. So the benefits of the scheme is we're going to reduce through traffic journeys and traffics from people coming from St Neots and the local area, either heading east or west, potentially up to 10-15 minutes a day each way, depending on the length of your journey, travelling along that corridor, which can obviously increase benefits over the week. To support local and regional economic growth, the road has been planned with taking into account potential changes in traffic flow and potential future development. So that's the reasons for the scheme. Skanska Construction have been on the project for about 3 and a bit years now, so we were part of the development consent order, which effectively is the planning permission. So we're involved in a lot of the discussions with the local residents and landowners, planning on what's going through, working with the Secretary of State and the Department for Transport to get the permissions agreed. We had an appeal for a judicial review from a local or from a national environmental group, which we addressed their concerns. So that's delayed our construction. So we started construction fully in January of this year.
I think you've gone, John. You're a bit Dalek-y.
John, just like to reset your mic, and then I think if everyone could just have their mics off, that'd be really helpful just while presenting, just in case there's any other noise. Just, yeah, it's a little bit muffled.
Okay, just trying to adjust my microphone.
We still can't hear you.
Yeah, John, sorry.
Sounds like the power in your mic's gone.
Hold on a sec.
They just love technology.
Is that better?
Yeah, we've got you back.
Okay, that's fine. Nothing better than just unplugging it and plugging it in again. So the map I'm showing at the moment shows the green line is the existing A428, and then the orange line we have is the route of the new dual carriage we're building, which is showing, as I said, the 3 junctions at Black Cat, down at the bottom of St Neots, at Wintringham, and Caxton Gibbet. So it's just going to summarise what will happen there. So it'll be dual carriageway all the way through, traffic travelling in both directions. Traffic will only be able to come on and off at Black Cat and Wintringham. Locally, along the existing route of the road will continue to be in place. You'll still be able to use it after the scheme is finished. It'll go back to be managed by the local authority. There was a couple of changes where the road crosses the new dual carriageway, so we're building some new bridges, and there's quite significant construction around Eltersley, where if anyone who travels in that direction will know some of the junctions coming out onto the A428 are a bit dicey. So we're doing some restructuring around there as well. So starting at the Black Cat roundabout to the west end of the scheme, existing roundabout at Black Cat. Let's change. So the existing roundabout at Black Cat, all traffic goes to it, whether you're going north, south, or east or west. So we will be reconstructing the junction to have 2 through routes. So if you were travelling on the A1 north to south, so you're coming out of St Neots and heading down to Sandy Biggleswade and down towards London, you'll go under the new junction there, so you wouldn't come onto the roundabout at all. And again, if you were coming from the Wintringham junction at St Neots and heading towards Bedford and Milton Keynes, you would come over the top and you wouldn't need to come through the roundabout at all, which would relieve the pressure on the roundabout and obviously have a faster flow of traffic. Doesn't show it within the diagram we have here, but I can assure people the Black Cat statue, which was on the roundabout, which is now sitting outside our site office, having had a couple of scratch paints, it will be going back into the scheme. Although it's finding a little tricky to find where exactly we can put it that it's visible for everyone, but it's not in a place that's dangerous and puts people off their view of the road as they come through as well. So this will be the challenge here is obviously building a roundabout and at this size while keeping the traffic going through it. So there'll be 3 or 4 phases of traffic management. So at the moment the traffic layout has some restrictions. Come the spring next year we'll change the layout slightly, but basically we're going to build the outside roads and then keep the traffic running through the roundabout as it stands at the moment, and then move the traffic wider and build the middle bit. Moving on next to yourselves at Cambridge Road, Wintringham. So effectively, this image was taken as part of our consultation works. So where you are at the moment now is just here, where the urban and civic development is. So it's literally around the corner. You'll see there's quite a lot of work going on off site. So the change you will see there now is that normally the road would run just straight through and down to Eltersley and on. Where the dual carriageway comes through, you'll have a new junction, so 2 roundabouts which will be your on and off slips, and a bridge that will take you, if you were moving locally, to take you across the new dual carriageway. Don't know if anyone's driven down through that way before. There's quite a large excavation, which is this bridge bowl that's going on now. I have some drone footage which I'm going to share with you. I'm going to need to change what's on because it's not embedded in this presentation. So just bear with me a moment. So this is the existing A428 here, travelling through as if you were coming with Wintringham behind you and you're heading down towards Caxton Gibbet and Eltersley, and you'll see the construction where we've excavated there. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's happened to the screen there, although to get some sound on that. So you can see we've excavated in here. These are the abutments for the bridges, and in the next couple of weeks you will see the bridge decks go in over there. I'll just try and run this again. I think it's my Wi-Fi is not letting me run the drone footage, but you can see the bridge decks there, and you can see them as you come out of Wintringham. We're back on the presentation now. Can everyone see that?
Yeah. So just run through the slides. Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's fine.
A bit glitchy.
Right. So the next junction will be impacting, although there won't be movement onto the new dual carriageway itself, is at Eltersley, where the road runs down from Papworth Edward, and the Papworth Edward bypass, the 1040 runs north to south, effectively down through and then past, and then down Eltersley, past Eltersley Village and out the other side. Again, they're similar to we've got just at Cambridge Road. There's going to be 2 roundabouts and a bridge over the road. The additional benefit we'll get here, although drivers won't be able to get onto the new road, is that at the moment coming out of the village at Eltersley and coming down from Papworth Edward, there are some quite nasty right turns across the traffic. So by putting in these roundabouts, that will be in place. Both Eltersley Junction and the Cambridge Road Junction, by spring, early summer next year, you as the travelling public will be going on the new alignments of the roads along and over the bridge. So whilst there might be a dual carriageway, won't be there underneath you, you will be on the alignment of the new road. So there may be some slight disruption a couple of weekends where we have to tie in works, but they'll be done separately. But by sort of the summer next year, you'll be using what will be the final alignment of the new traffic routes for local travellers. And then finally, from a construction, from a structure construction perspective. Caxton Gibbet is going to be rebuilt as well. At the moment, it is one roundabout, which is roughly here, where the services are. You have McDonald's, you have the Shell garage, Costa Coffee, and the Premier shop, and there's a kebab place down there. That will effectively become our westbound on and off slips. So any traffic coming out of from Camborne and beyond on the dual carriageway will continue. It will go over the top of Caxton Gibbet onto our new dual carriageway, which will travel cross country down to the Black Cat. And there'll be a new roundabout. It's being constructed slightly further north. Just there's a small hotel just north of Caxton Gibbet, and the roundabout we just below there. And that's the point where the existing local road, which is a single carriageway road, will tie into the new road net we're building. So from a summary perspective, that is the junctions and the interactions you will have as road users with the new dual carriageway. That dual carriageway after St Neots, when heading west, will come down below, head slightly south from St Neots, and then come across. Our two challenges on the way to the Black Cat are we have to cross the East Coast Main Line. So the bridge construction works similar to other bridge constructions, but working within 5-10 meters of a live railway line has its own restrictions and our own various hoops we have to go through with Network Rail to be able to work at certain times, and there's only certain activities we can do in certain ways. And then we go over the River Great Ouse and cross the floodplain there before we reach the Black Cat roundabout. Construction is on programme at the moment. We've been working through the summer, making the most of the good weather to move things forward, although this week's rain has made it a bit difficult at times, and there have been a few delays in the last few days on what we're doing, but we are heading for open for construction on the new dual carriageway for spring 2027, which is 2.5 years away. Just a summary about some other bits we've been up to. Our engagement, I'm part of a community engagement team that works with National Highways colleagues and myself. We've gone to various events. In the last year, we were at the Bedford Kite Festival last year, and we were at the River Festival in Bedford this year, seeing between 2,000 and 4,000 people at those events. And locally, we went to Pax Fest up at Little Paxton. We were at Gransden Show last year, and we'll be back at Gransden Show this weekend, weather permitting. We also have regular drop-in events. I don't know if anyone's ever seen them advertised through our social media side of things. We go to Roxton Garden Centre, we go to Tesco's at St Neots, and we go to Morrison's at Camborne, and we're there one day a month, each month, which we will do throughout the year, apart from December and January through the Christmas and winter period. We've also had some online events. We had our first one in July with a construction update after the first 6 months, and we're planning another one to happen towards the end of October. So if you keep an eye on our websites, on our social medias, the details for joining instructions for signing up to see that will be coming out soon. As I said, we update on Facebook and Twitter, not just road closures and events, but updates on construction, people working on the screen, some of the technical detail, just how we're developing, what we're using, type of plant, just stories about the scheme as it goes. A lot of our events we go to are supported by other people with National Highways, people running the operations team. They're keeping the roads running day to day, and we work in conjunction with the local authorities. So Cambridgeshire County Council at this end of the scheme, and then obviously Bedford Borough around the Black Cat. We work quite closely with them to make sure everything's flowing smoothly. As part of the scheme as well, we want to leave a legacy. So National Highways have 2 legacy funds, or 2 levels of legacy funding that they're offering. There's a community fund, which offers smaller grants for smaller organisations within the community, and then a social value fund, which has the opportunity for organisations to apply for slightly larger grants for bigger projects within that. The funds run every 6 months, there's a funding cycle, so you have time to apply for the funding. It gets reviewed by an independent panel, and the decisions are made. The last funding cycle finished in the summer, and the next one is starting in November. If you look at the National Highways A428 website, or look at our Facebook post, that has links to how to get more details on the legacy funds there. First round of funding, we had 76 inquiries, 57 of which met the criteria to apply for a full application. Of the 57 who we invited to apply, 47 did apply, and 8 presented to the panel. That was on the first round of funding. There were some people who weren't able to apply or didn't get through to the panel on the first round, but they came back in on the second round and subsequently had applications through that as well. So if you are part of any local organisation and looking to get some funding, do have a look about what we offer on that side of things. So that is us for an update at the moment. As I said, we've got a more detailed construction update going into what's happening on the ground that we've got coming up in the end of October. So do keep an eye out on our social media pages for further details, and I'm sure we can share these contact details through your update on this scheme and from today's event.
Thank you, John. I've just got a couple of really quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
Will there be any sound barriers with a dual carriageway, be at ground level, going past Wintringham?
The dual carriageway will be at ground level for the majority of the journey. It will be raised when it obviously goes over the railway and the river. At Wintringham, it's going to be lower, so showing on the cut through where the road goes over, it comes into a dip, and then it will be at ground level. So there's not any plans for any specific noise barriers alongside the road itself. There will be planting and mitigation which will cover some of the view of it, but there's not specific noise barriers. We're away from quite a lot of residential accommodation compared to previous schemes like the A14, where we literally were building the road at the end of someone's garden. So
that's where I live, just to let you know. So okay, great. Paul, did you have your hand up for a question?
Yeah, I did. Thank you, John. Just one question for me, and perhaps on behalf of residents. In terms of the percentage of traffic that's currently using the existing 428, how much in percentage terms do you think will use the new one? In terms of what's left in terms of the local road?
Working on roughly 25,000 vehicles a day. We're looking at probably in the region of 4,000 will continue on the 3,000 to 4,000 on the local road for local journeys.
Right. So 5%?
Yeah.
Wow.
10% maybe. 5%, yeah. Depends on what people's journeys. Some people might feel, well, actually, if I'm going down to Roxton or somewhere, they might want to stay on the local traffic and not get involved in the through traffic. Other people might see it as a benefit even just to nip down one junction. So
sure.
We're looking about that.
But the 428 near Wintringham will be significantly quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
So was there anything else in the chat?
Obviously Scott's mentioning Resident Association, we're hoping they're going to be looking to apply for some of the legacy funding you mentioned, so that would be great. I would certainly support them as much as we can. That would be really good. This obviously might be related to East West Rail, but do you know how
actually on that, if you're looking at the social value funding and they're applying, I think they will also, on the larger ones, they'll also take into account match funding. So that might be something to consider with the Residents Association and yourselves. Obviously, there's an application process it goes through and it gets assessed. So I can't say that will go through definitely which way, but I mean, those are the sort of things they look at as well on that to see what you're looking at doing.
Okay, Scott, so you have my absolute support in trying to get that for you. So we perhaps take that offline and have a chat how we can perhaps apply for that. And then just obviously connected to East West Rail, do you know how big the viaduct is going to be for the future train line?
I don't, I'm afraid. East West Rail is a separate development. We do get asked if we were involved. I wasn't involved early in the scheme to understand, you know, we do have a relationship with East West Rail. The decision is separate between National Highways application for their road development and East West Rail. We do work with them. They are aware of where our road is being constructed, but they are at the stage we probably were about 3 years ago. They're in consultation at the moment to put in their development consent order. I know they have a preferred route, but that's still under discussion. It still has to be applied for to be even whether it's going to go ahead. So I don't have any details on the dimensions or anything they're planning at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. I know it's a lot to get through, but I hope that was useful and informative for everybody. I know there were a lot of questions around that scheme, which I hope we can sort of share. If there's any more questions from anybody, we can move on. So thank you for joining us, and obviously update again in the near future.
Yeah, we'll be happy to come back and update. And we are looking, when we do day, I know we've had a bit of feedback from people that our sort of monthly drop-in events tend to be during the day, and we are looking at if there's anything and any locations we can potentially use evening. We've identified a few, and we're working through the logistics of where to get to and how to get to people there and when to do it. So
yeah,
just keep us posted.
Yeah, we will do.
Yeah,
thanks, John.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you all, and have a good evening all. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll just Paul, just drop us back to the main presentation and we'll get through. Sorry, I know it's been a few slides to get through, but hopefully give you just some quick updates from Paul and myself, and feel free to ask any questions. Great. Okay, so just for myself, just a quick update on events. As you know, Urban and Civic host events each month, and we support Resident Association as well. Just to let you know, this Saturday we have our archaeology heritage event. This will be from 11 till 3 in the school. For those that haven't been before, or even those that have been before would like to come along, it's an opportunity to have a look at Winchringham's past, if you like. So Oxford Archaeology East will be sharing some of their finds. They'll be doing a couple of presentations and showing some sort of artifacts and the history behind the archaeology of Wintringham, but also a little timeline as to the history and heritage of the area, which is sort of late Roman, early Iron Age. So that would be something we're hosting in the school. St Neots Museum will be there. We have an Iron Age reenactor, and there'll be some craft activities for the children. So a little bit of a museum, but very much a family event. So please do come along if you haven't been, or come along and have a chat with the archaeologists as well. They're very happy to share some information and talk you through some of that project too. And then just towards the end of the year, October, we're looking to do our Wildlife Trust event again with, it'll be around hedgehogs and how we can sort of look after and protect those through the winter. So that'll be in October. November, obviously the Diwali event that Scott spoke about, and December, hopefully round up the year with a Christmas event. So this will be on the plaza with, we've got St Neots Big Band playing, carols and Christmassy songs all around the Christmas tree, and we'll have some food trucks there and a bar truck as well. So hopefully we can sort of round up the year with a little bit of a sort of get together for the community and a little bit of a celebration too. I'll update via the normal door drops and on Facebook as well, so just to keep you posted on those events. So that's the roundup for me. Thank you. And I think Paul will introduce some development updates. As I say, please feel free to ask any questions through the chat as we go through.
Thanks, Christine. Just to give an update, I always include this in case people are new to the development and haven't been here before. This is the outline here of the whole of Wintringham. It's in 3 phases. You can see there the different phases. Just to sort of give a recap, really, that it will eventually have nearly 3,000 new homes. It'll have 2 primary schools, some employment space, and a whole network of cycleways and bridleways that go around that sort of yellow area and through the red area as well. It'll have a district centre that we spoke about earlier, which is sort of further down up here. And obviously there's a bit more people may know about what's coming through there a bit later. As you can see, we're currently in key phase 1. Key phase 2 is here, which is a bit less developed than key phase 1, and further down to key phase 3, as you can see there. Just to give you a little bit more area of where we are, this is obviously the whole of the key phase 1, different house builders and different parcels, as you can see there. We have about 550 occupied new homes at the moment. It will be about 900 by the time it's finished. And again, this is a bit more detail of where the district centre, or the Wintringham hub, as it probably will be called, as we go through. And here's where the David Lloyd Leisure Complex is going to be, just sort of opposite one of those lakes there. And just a little bit more detail, you can see there how here's our current school. This is how the district centre, the Wintringham hub, will probably take place. This area here will have more sort of community areas for a library, health centre and community centre. This will be a large sort of food supermarket here, and this will be a large restaurant. This will be landscaping here for people to enjoy, and this will be some retail outlets here. These retail outlets could be sort of, you know, vets or hairdressers or estate agents, that type of sort of unit. So this is how it'll start to take shape over the next sort of couple of years. That was a quick brief roundup. If there's any questions that anybody has about anything, about what you've heard tonight or about anything else, then please let us know. It's the quietest it's been all night.
I know. Anyone,
well, look, it's 10 to 9. I'm sure everybody's got things they'd rather be doing. Thanks for everybody's time tonight, and thanks for staying on the line. There's been over sort of 45 people on tonight, which is great. There's still 30 of you left here tonight, which is brilliant. So if you do think of anything later on, then please do email myself or Christine, and we can take those questions away and answer them.
Great, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Just to say, the next forum will be in November, and I'll post details about that for that date. So it'll be the last Thursday in November again. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.